Hey Startup Nation, I am Jen Sincero, author of You Are a Badass at Making Money, and I am really psyched to be talking to you guys. One of the beautiful things about being an entrepreneur is that you're a creative person. You are creating your own reality. And a huge stumbling block in the beginning is, actually not just in the beginning, but all throughout the creating and growing of your business, is that you get a lot of really good ideas. And picking one can be rather painful. And it is so important, especially in the beginning, to not fragment your energy and not fragment your focus, because especially when you're starting a business, you need all of your juice and all of your focus to get that mother off the ground. So I don't care if you're starting to roll in this one business and then this brilliant idea pops into your head. It's pretty much guaranteed that it's going to. I know every time I start writing a book, I get the most awesome idea for another book almost immediately thereafter. So write it down, save that idea, and just know that you can do it once you're done with what you're working on. Because if I start writing a book and then the second it gets hard, I'm like, you know what, that other idea was so much better. And then I'll go over to that other idea and then that'll get hard. And then I'll go back to my first idea and 3 years will pass and I'll be nowhere. So stay the course and just keep a list and just know that once you get rolling, then you get to do all those other ideas. But don't act like because you got this new idea, it's meant to be done. It just means that you're an awesome creative person. I'm a person who likes a lot of variety. I thrive on variety. And so my working environment varies all the time. I love working in coffee shops. Sometimes I'm best, alone lying on my bed working. Sometimes I go to a library and work. It really depends on where my head's at and how long I've been at the coffee shop. Usually I'm craving the library and vice versa. So for me, I find that being able to move around a lot is really, really important. And it's very important that you figure out what works best for you and getting specific about that and creating that for yourself so that you can be as productive as possible. The apps I do use are, I don't even know if this is an app, but it's the timer on my clock on my phone, because one of my greatest tips for time management is to chunk things down. And as a writer, this works really well for me, but I think it would work really well for you no matter what you're doing. We tend to get into panic and overwhelm when we look at an entire project in the face and we just can't even face it. But if you chunk it down into like 20-minute chunks of time, you can do anything. So instead of writing the entire book, if I'm like, I'm going to write my ass off for the next 20 minutes and I'm unauthorized to get up and go to the bathroom, get something to eat, answer the phone, go online, anything, just for 20 minutes. It really is the only reason I've ever finished any project. And the key to this is when you get to minute 15 of that 20 minutes, that is when I start to squirm like crazy, and you have got to stay the course, because you got to understand that it's not just about those next 5 minutes, it's about the rest of your life. If you squirm out of it then and you don't stay true to your decision, then you have no resolve and no self-discipline, and self-discipline is the key to being an entrepreneur. So staying in that 20 minutes and seeing it through to the end, and then getting to take a break and call your friend or go stuff your face or whatever you need to go do, you can go do. But that chunking down is key. So I use the timer on my phone. I also listen to a lot of guided meditations. So I don't know if that's an app, but I download them on my phone. I have a handful of guided meditations that really work for me. Sometimes meditating on your own is great, but when I'm traveling on planes and spending a lot of time on the road, listening to guided meditations is just, I love them. And some of my favorites are, there's something by Abraham Hicks. It's called Getting into the Vortex, and it's 4 15-minute meditations. One is just about sort of getting in the zone. One is about relationships. One is about your physical body, getting that back into the flow. And one is about your finances. And when I was transforming my money story, I listened to the financial one all the time, and I can't tell you, it makes my hair stand up how well that one worked for me. So I highly recommend those. I mean, you got to do the work too. You don't just get to hang out and listen to this meditation, but when you're doing the work and you're getting your mindset and your energy lined up with what you desire, man, it is awesome how well that stuff works. I'm also a big lover of Kelly Howell. She has a company called Brain Sync, and she has these, I'm going to explain this, and I probably don't really explain it correctly, but there's brain waves that you have going through your mind when you're thinking a certain thought, and she disrupts the pattern with other waves and then sends subliminal messaging in and makes it easier for you to receive it and sort of change the grooves of your belief system. And her stuff is awesome. So that's Brain Sync by Kelly Howell. I think that's mostly what I'm listening to these days. One of the most important things about being an entrepreneur is getting yourself in the game and not being shy about self-promotion. That whole phrase, shameless self-promotion, drives me nuts, because what is shameful about informing the world of the gifts that you are bringing to them, and informing the world that you're stepping into your authenticity and that you're doing exactly what you love to do with your life? That should be celebrated and not, shrouded in this cloak of shame. So being really empowered by that and having fun with that is so important, because when you're not being icky and weird about it and you're just like, hey, I'm doing this cool thing, I really want to share it with you, you will attract the people that are meant to work with you to you, as opposed to repel them by being like, do you mind? Maybe you'd want to buy this thing I have. I know I'm being pushy and annoying. So you gotta work on that. It's really super important. And if you're freaked out by sales, if you feel pushy and aggressive and whatever you got going on with sales, take some sales courses. You do not have a business if you do not have sales. I've heard so many times people say things like, I love everything about my business except the sales. Then you got a hobby if you love everything about your business except the sales. Business is about making money, and you make money by selling. So take a sales course, get comfortable with it, look at all your negative beliefs around selling, and question them and work on them and reframe them. It's super duper critical. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. You can't sit around and wait for inspiration. You have to hunt it down with a club. Something like, God will not have his will made manifest by cowards. Don't worry, be happy. Thanks so much for watching this, everyone out there on Startup Nation. This has been really, really fun, and I am so excited for you to be starting up whatever it is that you're starting up. The world really needs as many actualized and excited and authentic people standing up in their power. So I really appreciate you going for it. And again, I am Jen Sincero. I am the author of You Are a Badass at Making Money, Master the Mindset of Wealth, as well as You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life. You can find out more about me on my website, jensincero.com. Thanks again.